So you wanna win a match, but your team is forcing you to play a tank. You don't trust them for a second because they are random scrubs that most definitely have no clue how to play. And you know that if you want something to be done, you gotta do it yourself. If so, then Ruckus is for you. And today I will teach you how to stop being a bucket of trash and become an actual threat as a goblin in a mech suit. Now, Ruckus is a tank, no doubt in that. He got 2 defensive abilities that make him a tank. And that's the first thing we gotta talk about. He got the emitter, which gives him a shield, and he got a repulsor field that reduces damage taken for a set percentage. The trick here is to know which one of them to use, when to use and when not to use. Now, the first rule of these abilities is to never ever use them at the same time. There is absolutely no point of doing so. If you got emitter on you, then you got shields on, and repulsor field does not reduce damage taken by shields, so you just use it for nothing. What you do wanna do instead is read the situation and act accordingly. If you see that the enemy is further than your effective range, but you need to be in his sights and take a few of his shots, use repulsor field. This way you will minimize his poke on you. Yes, he will still deal some damage to you, but at least he won't instantly blow all your shields up, which are actually your trump card. Now, when you get your HP lower and lower, your enemies can see it and will become more and more aggressive, more and more cocky, and maybe even will try to dive your team and finish you off, and that's where emitter comes in. As soon as you start being in actual danger, not just poke damage, the actual danger when you risk being killed, you can use your emitter, and suddenly you got 3000 more HP as a shield. However, it can be blown up in a few shots with Rekka. It still gives you a lot of time to either escape or punish cocky opponents that didn't expect your emitter to come up. If you can master just this simple bait trick, and you know for sure when to use each of these abilities, you already become a top 10% Ruckus player. Honestly, if there's one thing that you can take away from this video, take this tip. Now, emitter also can be used as a crowd control, because it slows all enemies near you when you use it. I see that a lot of Ruckus players often forget about it. But yes, Ruckus can slow people. If you see a target that you need to take down quickly, you can dash towards it, then quickly pop up the emitter and then just shoot it. And if you slow a champion in front of your whole team, it's supposed to die quickly. If your team can press the shoot button, of course. Now, this already gives Ruckus some very nice 1v1 potential. But did you know that Ruckus, when fully spun up, has one of the highest potential DPS weapons in the game? It's basically a Fernando with Victor on his neck. Now some players might ask, it's all cool and shit, but how do we use it to get the maximum profit over that? If Ruckus would be so good as you say, he would be picked first every time, every game, but that's not happening. And that's right, because most players use Ruckus wrong. They think that, oh, he's a tank, so all I need to do is to get on the point and stand there until the game ends. And that can't be further from how Ruckus actually is supposed to be played. And now I gotta talk a bit about legendaries. Obviously 100 bonus ammo card is trash and has to be reworked. So the choice here is between Flying Assault and Flux Generator. Flux Generator makes Ruckus much more tanky and allows him to survive more time on the point, so not very experienced players will say that this is the obvious choice, but I disagree. Flux Generator Ruckus only works as a second tank, and with a support that will consistently heal you. And there's a reason for that. If you can make your other tank harder to kill in between of his shields, then it's gonna be much harder to kill him in general. However, you want to always have another tank, and you want to always have a support that will always heal you. Unless you will queue up with 2 other players, and you decide that this will be your strategy. In solo queue, Flux Generator just doesn't work. If you stand on the point, then your enemies can shoot you from a distance where Ruckus can't actually trade shots. And the Flux Generator doesn't provide that much survivability to survive there alone, on your own. Also, you're not gonna be able to outpoke Shalin or Kinessa or Ruckus. They gonna tear your metal ass apart. On the other hand, the Flying Assault legendary can allow you to be a champion with a tank survivability, damage DPS, and a ability of a flanker. Instead of going on the point, you can try to counterflank, which means basically to catch a flanker and kill him before he gets into your backline. It's one of my favorite things in the game, to meet a flanker in a flank route where he doesn't really expect you to be and just destroy him in a 1v1. After that you can flank and apply pressure to the backline damage heroes. For the most part, damage heroes won't stand a chance against Ruckus at point blank range, so they all are free frags for you. Basically you play just like a flanker to this point. After you wipe the enemy team out, you gotta do something else. You gotta go to the choke point between the objective and the enemy spawn and just not let them get through. Zone them out. Go for the dismount. Go for some distraction. It's very hard to get through the choke that is guarded by a Ruckus. While you're doing this, one of your teammates, hopefully, will stand on the point. Just don't let anyone to get through the choke. And then repeat the same shit over and over again. Kill the flanker, get inconveniently close to damage heroes and kill them, and then kill the tank and keep zoning respawning enemies out. I know that some people will say, but hey Chavs, this doesn't sound like you helping your team too much with this type of playstyle. But you know what? I got 67% win rate on Ruckus and Ranked, and these few times that I lost because I picked Flux Generator and I was trying to play as a Death Ball Ruckus, which, as I said, doesn't work in a solo queue. However, you can save your teammates with your defensive abilities. There are a few tricks. First one, when you see that your teammate is in trouble, you can jump in front of him, use your emitter and take the shot to your face. This is the most efficient way to save someone as Ruckus. It's not a Fernandez shield, but it's something. But that only works if a teammate and an enemy are next to each other. If they are far from each other and you see that your teammate gets poked out, you better off using the repulsor field, and since repulsor field works not only on Ruckus himself, it also works on nearby teammates, you gonna allow your teammate to have an edge in a poke fight. Another tip for Ruckus is don't let enemies jiggle pick on you. Ruckus weapon can't fight in jiggle fights whatsoever. There are 3 reasons for that. First off, your weapon is tracking, so you can't peek, shoot and hide. Second, your weapon has to spin up before it starts shooting full speed. And third, you are slowed when you are shooting. If you see someone jiggle picks on you, you got 2 options. You either get out of there and rethink your strategy, or you fully commit on your enemy, you just jump in his face and stand point blank, you slow him and shoot him right in the eye. Either way, think fast, as some champions here can kill you fairly easy. Now a little bit about Ruckus's ultimate. When used smart and well timed, it can team wipe. But first, let's talk about when not to use it. First off, don't use it when there is an Ruckus on the enemy team that you are not sure if he has its reversal of cooldown. It would be a shame if he would just press one button and kill you with your own ultimate. A second no-no is using his ultimate when you are not in a vantage point. If you just stand in front of enemies when you are surrounded and you are not on the high ground, and maybe there is even an enemy shield in your face, that's the moment when you understand that you just screwed up. If you just get on the point and use it, then you're doing it wrong. So before you press the hold button, make sure that the enemy team doesn't expect you to shoot from that angle. Get into some nice and cheeky flank. Make sure that enemies can't hide from you a second after you waste your ultimate, because otherwise you're gonna shoot at walls and look like an idiot. Also, try to position yourself that way so your enemies will be in a row before you. That way you'll be able to maximize the damage from the Hexafire. Also, try not to use ult when the enemy Dragos has his ult up. It would be a shame if he would kill you with his ultimate half second after you use yours. Now, about items. Yellow items are the most important for you as Ruckus. The one that you choose will define your entire match. The safest option is Chronos, as it will reduce the cooldown on your abilities. You'll be able to use Advance more often, and that means that you'll be even harder to catch and harder to run away from. Also, more CDR means that you got your shields and repulsor field more often, and that's more survivability and more control. If you aren't sure what item to pick Chronos. Works every time. However, if you are playing on the map where you know for sure that you can easily team wipe with a clever ultimate, you can take advantage of morale boost. For me, the only map that I use it on is Stone Keep. You can ult from a balcony and kill a whole bunch of enemies, and you should try to do that once yourself. And the last yellow item that can work is horse riding. It will allow you to get into an enemy backline even quicker in the start of the match. If you're a fan of very aggressive flanking, here you go, this item is for you. As a blue item everything is pretty obvious, but consider that Maldamba is one of the best counters to Ruckus, as his stun will just make you completely useless. I swear, playing as Ruckus against Maldamba that knows what he's doing is one of the most infuriating things in the game. If there is Maldamba on the enemy team, get resilience and thank me later. As a red item, you most definitely gonna need Cauterize, as you won't be fighting tanks most of the time. Leave Rekka to the damage heroes, if they aren't dumb of course. And as a green item, that's fully on you. What do you think is gonna work best here? I'd say that you should buy them according to this list. Squishy enemies, kill to heal. A lot of poke damage, veteran. Only tracking weapons, life rip, and only if you feel that your support keeps an eye on you and your enemies haven't picked Cauterize, rejuvenate. But honestly you should buy whatever you can make work, according to your playstyle. Now about the loadout cards. Emitter is your main ability that gives you a lot of mana tricks, a lot of survivability and a lot of duel potential. So cards that reduce its cooldown and increase uptime are totally have to be in your loadout. Also, if you played with a flying assault like I do, you'd better off getting the card that increases advance's charge rate. Other cards are optional. Well, I think that's about all I can say about Ruckus. He's pretty easy as well as fun to play. Hope my guide helped you. Don't forget to subscribe if you still haven't, and see you guys next time.